Hello and welcome back to Showdown. This is BioEnchanted and today we'll be going through Fairy World. There'll be a lot of visual glitches in this video.
Two more and we can grant a wish!
Because the actual thing wasn't behaving properly, the actual emulator, it was really having a bit of a strop today, so sorry about that. It'll give you a good idea of the level design overall though, even if the graphics go a little bit screwy at times.
If you collect enough crowns, you can spend them at the store!
It was particularly bad today, and the emulator was a little bit, freezing a little bit up like this, it was having some troubles in general today. Quite little animations are like when you bump into the barrel, you get the little like flip of the lid, that's really cute.
Look out!
There's a lot of aspects of that
They can be vicious!
I see a wish star on top of that house!
Yeah, trying to hit the elves is a bit of a pain because they're very small and your hitbox with the stomping is very small as well, so you have to be kind of accurate with that or you just knock them down. Of course we just need to get the wish stars, so let's start by doing that, because without the actual wishes we can't really do much in this level. And from this level we'll be able to see the game design really start to get interesting as the level progresses. For now though we need to actually get the wishes so we can actually do the things. I also like that you get ideas of what your wishes will be before you even get there. Like you can see the cow on the left, the cards in the middle, and the broken stuff on the right, and of course they will all be interacted with by the end of the level. It's a very good kind of a summary of the entire world. Of this world anyway.
Fairy, steal your stuff! We need a little more information than that, Timmy!
I need a lot more!
If we're gonna rescue all those poor club free cards, we'll need something for transporting suits.
Like a suitcase.
Maybe some sort of playing card suit restoration gizmo thingy!
Okay, I wish for some sort of playing card restoration gizmo thingy.
I had one of those when I was a little fairy.
Now you're a lot fairy! Now you can carry playing card suits from suit fountains!
Duh! How else would a playing card restoration gizmo thingy work?
I quite like Cosmo's line about the suitcase, that's cute. The one thing I quite like is that these levels tend to have...
my card spray gizmo here, I can stock it with clubs.
Then you'll have to take the clubs to blank cards!
But the gizmo can only hold...
There are the clubless cards! The poor dears! Activate the spray
But yeah.
Voila! Bridge! 4 no trumps! I like the way this jester thinks.
There's the
But yeah, it's
municipal
like...
town hall!
It's for cows only, so we don't need to go inside. But be sure to look at it, because it took someone ages to build.
I do think that's a game design joke. Just we have to model that so you're going to look at it. The only thing I quite like with these levels is there's always one fairly big sort of a puzzle to do that's like completely optional for one of the more hidden collectibles, and is often very intricate and kind of fun. That is visually interesting. In this case, of course, it revolves around that massive building that's clearly completely falling apart. But we'll see how that plays out later when we actually have the wishes to deal with it. Of course, this is the first real collectible of the game, these little coins. There are 300 coins in every level. And of course, you can actually use them to buy upgrades, a area we'll see later on. Now, we won't actually be talking with all this level, because I'm just going through the level at the moment. I don't want to kill the flow. Okay, little things like this, so like going up this massive building and everything like that. Like I quite like that a lot of the buildings you see you can actually get on top of. It's a very kind of, it makes it feel very fun to explore. Like little things like that, they make it much more interesting to explore than the levels in Breaking the Rules. One of the aspects of the game I also quite like is that a lot of the levels have a kind of a theme to their sets of wishes. In this case it's more just a general kind of the jester has broken everything kind of a thing. So it's like, they're all very...
This is the square market, Timmy!
Where are all the fairies shopping for the latest squares?
I guess the municipal cows must have evacuated everyone after Quince went crazy.
What kind of jester stops people from shopping?
But yeah, it's like the main theme of this level is basically just the jester has broken some stuff and you have to fix it all. And it doesn't really...
They don't do
hold
anything,
together
but they're fun to
very
collect.
much when it comes to the wish interacting with each other. It's just kind of playing cards and cows, and it's like, I don't really see what the actual theme there is outside of the just as broken some random stuff. And cow
This
puns.
is where you can go shopping.
We'll do that some other time. But like,
I'm
the later
sure
levels...
behind this gate.
There used to be some rainbow stepping stones and bridges.
And I'll bet that insane Jester Quince is on the other side, right?
He must be, Timmy. This is the action of a fiendish vandal.
Yeah, he'll suck my blood.
That's a vampire, Cosmo.
An insane vampire vandal jester fiend from the other side.
Come on. Let's find a way to fix the stepping stones before Cosmo uses up his entire vocabulary.
If I remember right, the elves! Call the elf exterminator!
So we're on the way to the Fairy Dairy now, which is where the cow puns all really kind of come together when it comes to what it actually means in the universe. This level's a bit odd, really. There are a lot of strange jokes in this level, where the later levels are much more coherent in what they're trying to do.
This is the Fairy Dairy. Who's this guy?
Ooh. He says he's the dairy fairy.
He's worked with cows for so long, he speaks like they do.
That's not too weird.
Moo. Moo? Moo.
He says his 3 cows are missing from the cowshed.
I assume that he wants our help then?
The cows have been scared away from their shed by Quince.
And the cowshed activates the rainbow bridges?
Moo means all that?
It's all in the context. Context and nuance.
Also, the context joke's pretty funny as well. I like that Cosmo gets those kind of jokes as well that show, like, he's versed in fairy stuff, but when it comes to most stuff he just doesn't quite understand it, but he still is fine when it comes to fairy stuff. This is the first of a few minor secrets. These blue presents tend to give rare
This
collectibles,
guy's really pointy. It must be new.
and this is one of the more interesting ones. If I can land on it, there we are. You see, the clover is Timmy's health bar. If he gets hit 3 times, he loses a life and has to restart. He can basically respawns. It's not really much of a threat. You get infinite lives, so it's really not much point to the health system. But that's how it works. You get 4 hits and then you have to respawn.
These floating cards are strange, but they sure can be useful.
And of course, like every 4 clovers you collect, of course each level has 2, gives you an extra pip in your health bar. So those are the 3 main collectibles, is playing cards, which are there 6.
I wish I was a cowboy!
I'll do this one. I'm a cow expert.
Cosmo, haven't you ever seen a cowboy movie?
Oh yeah, I watch the Bovine Adventure Channel all the time.
I think it's perfect. Fairy cows are very safety conscious and always look after their calves.
So they'll follow me when I wear this ridiculous outfit? Well, okay.
I did good again. Go Team Cosmo.
I quite like that. Cosmo gets the opportunities to be stupid, but in a funny way, in a way that doesn't actually harm the adventure in any way. So it's that kind of harmless stupidity that made the character charming in his initial iteration, so it's fun to see them going back to that instead of just being generally dumb with no positive
If you wear your cowboy
reactions
suit,
to it.
the cow will follow
You should wear it anyway. It's cool.
you. You'll need to move
Again-
to get its attention.
The writing remembers to make Cosmo stupid but in a cute way, as opposed to stuff from the last game where it's like
You can transport cows
Felt a bit
by
mean-spirited.
leading them onto the platform, then bouncing the switch.
Also, the cow costume is really cute. I really like it. Just like the ridiculous giant mascot head. But yeah, the 3 main collectibles are the 300 coins, the 6 cards, and then a few rare items as well.
There you go, Dairy Fairy. One slightly confused cow. Ooh.
Yes, That should restore a rainbow stepping stone.
Come on, guys. We've got 2 more cows to herd.
Of course, each of these gives us some presents, which is nice. This one's a slightly more complex iteration of the same puzzle, so let's go over there, shall we? I quite like how it escalates little puzzles as well, so you don't just like press a single button and solve the puzzle like you did in the previous games. In this case, you have more of an actual like a set of things you need to do that requires some, if not much, thought. The levels definitely are much more designs in a way that, like, the puzzles actually get a little bit harder, and some of the later puzzles, when it comes to some of the secret items, can actually get kind of complex. And they do some really interesting visual things with some of the level design as well in later levels, but we'll see those when we get to them. For now, Fairy World's fairly basic visually, but in a very cute way. I also quite like that different swishes and different scenarios give you slightly different music. Like here we get this farmhand music for this set of this part of the level, and with other inventions, like the other which we'll get later in the level, we'll get completely different kind of music. Like here, for example, we have this kind of a casino with kind of a theme for the suit spray thing. And then we're back to the cow theme, which I quite liked. I didn't actually notice the first time playing through this game. I actually didn't notice it till recording. I was like, oh, that's a really adorable thing. I really like that. I also like that the fairy cows are golden with little stars on them instead of spots. It's a cute visual thing. They're so recognisable as cows, but they're clearly magical in some way. I also like the little wings on the cage. They don't just randomly float around for no reason. They float around because they're fairy cages that have fairy wings. It's not much, but it's some excuse for why the cages can fly.
We need a cow to use this switch.
That bridge seems a little irrelevant, but fine. We could have easily got him across the cards, but whatever. I quite like how the levels get more visually interesting, like, as the wishes solve them, if you know what I mean. Like with the card bridges kind of building themselves around the level and things like that.
Ooh.
Yes, we know you're happy.
1 more cow to go.
Like, levels have a geography to them that you kind of uncover as you progress, and that's quite visually fun. So these card bridges get a little bit trickier as well, because as you notice from that one, it kind of floats a little bit away from the ledge, forming a floating platform instead of a bridge. And if you don't see that coming, you're going to fall off, and that'll be embarrassing. But here we go, we have a couple of coins that are really easy to miss. That's always kind of mean when games do that, when it's just a little thing. Luckily, some of the things you can buy at the shop really mitigate that aspect of things, but we'll see that in the next episode.
What's next?
Stay calm. We are here to help.
There we go, that took a bit of a doing to get up there, but fine. Let's just swap out for the right suit first and then get the cattle going. Because like how the bridges aren't always just complete bridges or straight lines, they have little variations in how they set themselves up. I guess how they deal themselves would be a good way to put it. So now we need to build another bridge so we can get the cow to that elevator. So let's shuffle our legs, shall we? And I'm out of playing card puns now. Which is ace. There we are, now I'm out. A little bit of a problem with this wish can sometimes be that the cows need to be at varying distances, really, whether it will register. It seems a little bit like random. Sometimes you have to be very close to them, sometimes they'll kind of see you from a bit away. It's a little annoying at times when you have to get right up in the cow's face to recognise you're one of them, but yeah. I also like little things like how this particular wish like pays off, because you expect to do kind of a lasso mini game or something like that when you wish just to be a cowboy, and then this happens. It's like it's a cute little subversion of what you expect to happen. I also like that everything fairy related is wand powered. Like these bridge generator things are just giant wands attached to more wand related things. Again, it goes to visual themes and everything like that of the whole area. So we're pretty much done with the dairy fairy. When we get this, when the fairy dairy, I mean when we get this cow to the final switch. One of the main problems I have with this level though is these cows are very slow. And they're cute, but they're slow.
That's all the cows!
And look, a weird sparkly trail of magic. That happens all the time in Fairy World.
It's fixing the
And
rainbow.
there we go.
I guess we did good.
And there's another
It's
card.
okay, Dairy Fix
Jorgen.
a sticker. They don't do anything, but they're fun to collect.
Also, the stickers are way more interesting than the Crimson Chain cards in the previous game because they actually have different things on them. You can't see them when you're collecting them, but it tells you what the sticker's for, and you can actually see them from the main menu in a sticker album, which I'll show off when I collect them all at the end of the game. But yeah, the stickers are actually different from each other, and that makes them more interesting than the cards, which are just dull. And the stickers are at least hidden in interesting places too. You have to actually look for them.
Why do the elves hate us?
In some cases, figure out how to get to where they are. Like, you often see presents like floating somewhere, or like in a ledge you can't get to, and it's like, okay.
Those
This
are
is a
the
cool area, I like
rainbow
this area.
color vats.
If anything's happened to them, our color could be in danger.
I've got a feeling I'm gonna need a wish.
The mighty
So let's explore the
color
area.
factories. Without them, life would be very gray.
Something tore this place up pretty bad.
What if we can't get the color back? Without my green hair, I won't be handsome.
Don't worry, hon. One good wish should fix it. Once we have enough stars.
Oh no, that's why everyone's textures are disappearing. They have no colour. I figured it out. It's a conspiracy.
Man, it's good.
Butch Hartman's a fairy. Like, it's kind of a shame that for this level they didn't actually have the characters in grayscale as a foreshadowing for this moment, but that would have been a lot of work for a very small payoff. So it's not surprising they didn't do that, but that line doesn't really make sense
Whoa!
if Cosmo's not in black and white. Yeah, it's like, it's kind of a line that where it's like they tried to have their cake and eat it, and it didn't quite work out that way. Because the line seems to imply Cosmo at least thinks he doesn't have his colour, which he clearly does. Let's keep looking around to make sure we get all the coins in on this little area though, because of course missing one enemy can be really annoying because you'll carry cards. And happily, unlike in Spyro, they don't respawn. They just stay dead. Yeah, I know in Spyro they until they only respawn. Actually, it works on Spyro rules where they stay dead while you're there, but then when you leave and come back, they respawn without the collectible. Also, the wish jars are annoying because when you return to a level, if you miss something and you have to go back to it, you have to collect all the stars again. You end up starting with 0 wishes, so you can't just like run right to where you need to be and do the thing you forgot to do. So that's why we're going to make sure to get everything in one pass. In the later levels, when there'll be a lot of like intricacies we're navigating, we'll of course be cutting out some of the backtracking, but in this one it's not too bad, so we'll leave it in here because it's a relatively small, compact level. It's easy to navigate.
Need some way to fix the color factory, guys.
I have an idea. No, wait, it's gone.
We need a tool that can fix anything.
Then why don't you wish for a Reparatron?
What?
It's a fairy tool. We don't like effort, so we have Repairotrons to fix stuff.
Okay. I wish for a Repairotron.
You'll be able to use the Reparatron to fix broken things. We'll yell when we see any.
I might just yell anyway. Whee!
I also like little things like the moving subtitles when Cosmo's yelling. That's just kind of cute. Like it's a visual flair, and I always quite like when games have the time and budget to actually do that properly. Even if a lot of the visuals in this game are going a little bit wonky due to the emulation problems. But the Reparatron is the final wish, and of course it's one of the most important for actually exploring Fairy World.
Oh,
So we'll
look
see
at the
that
green
when we see it.
patch. Oh, that lovely green! Climb up and Reparatron it. Green! Lovely green! All the green stuff will be back.
I quite like this set piece, it's visually interesting.
Let's fix the yellow bag. Get up onto it and Reparatron it. A winged platform? But the wings are broken. Good
This
job.
platform's a little annoying,
Now
because
we
it
should
goes
be
in a
able to
particular
ride the
direction,
platform.
and it's just kind of like, you can't really get to it from anything but a very particular few points. I was trying to do a little bit of sequence breaking there by kicking the card from here, but it didn't really work out. It's like, so I get onto it fairly easily, but then the problem of course is, judging the distance to the next platform here, I misjudged it completely, and that's embarrassing. Can't really quickly get back up, so I have to go all the way back around again. That was my bad. But it doesn't take long. We're right there anyway at the entrance ramp, so let's just get back up there, shall we? I quite like as well at certain points in this area you can hear a very kind of mechanical theme playing when you're approaching the ramp to get onto it. Again, it's a very small thing, but the fact that they have a slightly different music for this area, even if it only briefly plays and doesn't quite fully go into it, is an interesting idea. Like the bass line here, for example, is a lot more kind of factorial. So here's the actual platform. Let's get back on it and actually do it right this time, shall we? There we go. It can be kind of hard to judge when you can't see a shadow until it actually is over the platform. Because the jumps still feel a little bit short in this game compared to what you're meant to actually get.
Will be yellow again, like chickens.
She sounded despondent weirdly enough there. Like in Megamind, where it's like, you were right, Minion, I was less right. There's only she was a little bit depressed on that line, don't know why. So there you go. Now things will be yellow again, I guess. Fine. There's a Dairy Fairy's car.
Collect the sun!
I quite like the visuals of like the giant clock spinning around in the middle and stuff, and just the design of the machine in general is visually fun and interesting. It's a neat set piece for the level. I quite like the way it's put together. Although a little aspects of it are a little bit annoying, like there's a lot of having to fall down and come back up again that comes up when you're coming for the optional things. It's a little annoying that from some areas there aren't ways back. Here's another mistake I make. I forget you actually have to fix this wheel before you can use it. So whoopsie. Sorry about that. And of course the key thing here when you're doing the dash is to make sure not to accidentally run off the edge like I almost did there a couple of times. That's generally a bad thing to do. But I quite like the dash mechanic is there because it really helps with backtracking. Ooh, that was a close one. Stressful, that dash. Well, let's actually get to where we need to get to and do it properly this time, shall we? I'll have to pay attention to the clock, see if this actually fixes the clock as well. I'm not certain if it does, but it'll be interesting if it did. I'll keep an eye out for the clock in the background and we'll see. Go, let's get to where we need to get to, shall we, and fix the red one. No, it didn't fix the clock. That's a shame, it would have been visually fun to if it did that, but there you go.
We restored all the color!
That should rebuild at least some of the stepping stones.
This word stepping stone is a big pain, by the way.
Slide back down to the ground. Whee!
And there's a bridge to the end of the level, but first we have 3 wishes, and we have a lot of exploring to do with them. So let's start, shall we? Now that we can do everything, we'll do everything that's missing anyway. So we just have to wait for the red thing. This is the hardest platform in the level, pretty much to get to. because it's really awkward to fall onto it or to jump to it because you can barely see it from most of the areas. You can only really see it from the wheel. There's only a few places you can actually get to it from, and because you and it are constantly moving, there's a very good chance you might accidentally miss. And it's just generally it's an annoying thing. I don't like this jump at all, but at least that's done now. So let's head up there and go for that slide that we created, shall we? Because I want to get the coins on that slide as well. We don't want to miss anything stupid like that. I quite like the awkward tilt though when he does the dash around really tight corners. That's visually fun. There's a lot of animations that I quite like in this level, in this game in general really, and that's one of them. And the writing is also just generally stronger, like some of the jokes actually land, and the characters are more consistently portrayed. And portrayed in a more likeable way as well. This bridge is a bit weird to gauge where it starts from, but it starts from here. It doesn't really look like a start to anything really, it's just kind of there. Like something you see in a ROM hack almost. Where you haven't really designed a proper start for the bridge, you just kind of put it somewhere. But now we have all the fixy things, all the things we need to do to repair all the damage Jester did. It would be a shame to leave Fairy World looking like such a mess. So let's actually finish repairing it, shall we? Because certainly we could just abandon it the way it is, but that wouldn't really feel right, would it? Wouldn't really feel completed. So let's complete. Luckily we already have the clubs we need for the rest of the cards in the whole level. I also quite like that for the rest of the level all the cards are clubs, and the clubs are just kind of the one thing you don't get until the end of the level. So it's like it prevents you having to keep switching between suits all the time, which is a real pain. And it gives you the whole like it prevents you doing some of this stuff before the game wants you to. So we may have noticed this whole thing was completely falling apart, so let's repair this area while picking up the coins from around here too. I always quite like that when levels let you do this kind of, when games let you do this kind of thing, where they let you do a bunch of optional stuff that still fits in with what the whole level is about, as opposed to just some random nonsense stuff. It's like, it helps feel like you're finishing a started job. Like, we could just leave Fairy World the way it is, but it wouldn't be finishing what we were doing here, which is fixing Quince's mess. So let's finish fixing Quince's mess. That's a tricky jump to make because it's not obvious you can land on that very effectively. So it looks like you'd slide off it, but you don't. So let's actually do the PS2 resistance of this level. The municipal town. Whoops, almost the municipal town hall. I also quite like that the repairatron gives out a little chime whenever it actually finishes repairing stuff, so you know when to actually let go of the button. So here we go. We can't actually get the cow to its switch because this grate is something we see a lot in England. I'm not sure if it shows up much in America, but it's called a cattle grid. It's basically, its purpose is to avoid cattle getting where they're not supposed to be, like along main roads and stuff, because they can't cross the grid without their hooves falling through the thing. So they know not to bother with the grids, and so they just don't go anywhere near them because the holes are too big for their hooves. Basically, it doesn't quite work. And the cows kind of instinctively, I believe, know that. I'm not entirely certain that's the case, but either way, they work that way. So we can't get the cow the short way, so we have to repair the town hall to get it a long way. I quite like the repair the town hall, though. It's a very cool looking area. Like, I quite like the turrets that show up when you repair it. It's just generally, it's a nice building. And I also quite like that the game points it out so that you know that there's going to be something here as well when you have all the wishes. But you do need all the wishes, though. We need the repair stuff, we need the cow, and we also need the card thing. So this music makes me feel very sleepy right now. So there we go, done with that cow now. Already got clubs, it's fine. Don't need more clubs. We've got plenty of clubs.
spray the cloths on the card. Good job. These are very rare.
They let you watch
And here we have the
movies?
slide.
How
Yay.
great is that?
So that's the municipal town hall explored. I quite like the whole area there. That's a neat little kind of bonus you can mess around with. It's quite fun to mess around with it. Whoopsie! I quite like the whole screen shakes as well in this version of the engine, as opposed to it just kind of flopping. As opposed to Timmy just kind of flopping, I mean, of course. So let's finally solve these puzzles we saw right at the start of the level, shall we?
We'll stick with you, Timmy.
Of course, as we'll see, getting all these coins, all 300 coins, will be a massive pain without a small cheat, and we're about to see that now. In that little silver present. So let's repair the platform here. And this is a bit of a weird platform because it's placed a little bit to the right of where it's expected to be. So you think this coin's going to be a massive pain to get, but it just kind of... whoop! That's a very strange jump because you expect to have to curve to the left, and this is a slight cheat.
There are only
In every
21
level, there is a
rounds to
cha-ching
find.
box,
That means you've already
which
found
gives you 50 coins all at
lot.
once. So there's actually only 250 coins scattered around the levels, and there's one cha-ching box that gives you the remaining 50. So we're nearly done with the level now. We only have a few more places to, well, really one more place we haven't fully explored, which is the Fairy Dairy. So let's head back there, shall we? And get the remaining coins and card. Because there's no real lives in the game, the whole health system doesn't really fit. It's just one of those games where it feels very unnecessary. It's just kind of a mild irritation, really. It's like, since there's no real penalty for death, it's like there's not really much point in having it as a mechanic. But I've found a lot of games tend to do that, though, have a death mechanic that doesn't really fit, or make any sense, or have any difference on the actual game itself. There we go, so almost all the coins. Oopsie, oh, shortcut. We'll call that a shortcut and get the rest of the coins on the bridge, shall we? Because of course that present has 10 coins. There we are.
Wow, you found all the crowns in Fairy World.
That'll annoy the fairies. They like their crown coins.
Now to stabilize Fairy World's economy, let's just check our progress, shall we, before we leave the level for the boss? Oh, we've missed a sticker. Whoopsie! Let's go back to it, shall we? Have a pretty good idea where it is. By which I mean I know exactly where it is, because it's the only place I haven't really fully explored. So let's go back there, shall we? And when I came this way, I didn't know for certain it was here, but I had a pretty good hunch. But of course, it was this present over there that we'd missed. So let's just go over there, shall we, and deal with it. Without accidentally messing up. Oh, actually, no, it's actually not a card thing at all. It's a Reparatron thing. So let's fix the platform and get that last card. And then we'll actually go for the actual boss. And see how the level pays off. So let's finally go and do the actual boss job. We also have switched to the right gadget. Of course, this boss will require heavily using the card thing. And by heavily, I mean entirely. cool idea, then we'll see what it involves. Because the bosses in this game, even at the worst, are way more interesting than in the first game, but that also, in some cases, can make, at least one case makes one of them much worse, but we'll see that one later. Let's finally deal with Quinn, shall we?
We're here. Where is he?
Oh, Jester! Jestery, Jestery, Jester!
La la la, here I am.
Are you Quince, the ex-royal jester?
Hey, Nani Nani. I mean, yes, thy frumious bandersnatch.
Give it up, Jester! You're not funny and you're coming with us!
You have to give back the royal jewel and stop this nonsense.
Jewel? Nonsense. Not funny. I'm positively mimsy without Grabe. I just want my job back.
I guess it's a fight then. Why is it always fighting?
Well, it's better than talking to this weirdo.
Fighting Quince on a stage, I've just realised, is actually kind of interesting. For reasons we can explore when we get later in the game.
He's calling elves to hurt you.
We have to be careful about the elves, a lot of them, and we need to first switch around the hard suits first of all. The main problem, of course, is like it takes a little bit of time for it to change. So if it doesn't, like for example there, I didn't realise it was already on hearts just then. It's like, oh damn, why it went back again? It's just, this part's a little annoying because I keep like, it's hard to distinguish hearts and diamonds from that far away because of the whole cloud of them things. So we kind of have to keep just kind of cycling until we get to the next red one, then we can go from there.
Now to smatter you.
I also quite like that he does tell you what his weakness is though, and that his weakness is actually emblazoned on his shirt at the time. Like right now he has a heart emblazoned on there, although with the textures being all weird, it's not very easy to see because it's much more clear in normal circumstances.
Thy vorpal spray has mortally wounded poor Quinn.
But because we keep screwing up the visuals of the emulator, it also screws up his character model, so we can't fully see his diamond on his hat and the diamond on the front of his shirt, but it's there. You can just about see it. And I actually never noticed that before as well. It's a cute visual tell that didn't really need a health bar. You could have figured it out without coding the health bar as well. But then again, it is a children's game, and that would have been quite a thing to figure out based on very small visual clues. So, but I do like the visual clue does exist there. That's very cute. There's a few reasons where fighting Quince on the stage is interesting. Again, we will discuss that when we actually get to it. The fight itself, it's got an interesting concept, but it's a very basic real fight. I quite like his animations though, like his cartwheeling and stuff.
I see that you have apprehended the despicable criminal.
I'm not a despicable criminal. I'm a despicable jester.
So do something funny!
Lady Titania, Lord Oberon, Calu Calais, have you come to give me my job back?
One commands you to be silent, you miserable lump of earwig wax.
Von Strangle, here is the thief. Where is the jewel?
Where is the jewel, you miserable lump?
What jewel?
The royal jewel you stole, you pathetic speck of thieving termite dribble.
I'm not a thieving dribble. I'm a dribbling jester.
You still haven't done anything funny.
I will question the suspect. He is puny. He will talk.
I'm making you personally responsible for recovering the jewel, Von Strangle. See to it.
Come, Timmy Turner. Come, incompetent fairies. Follow me.
As you can see, the boss fights in this game are a lot more intricate than they were in the first game, and actually every level has one as well. So there's no levels that have an anti-climax like the first level had. The first game had a few of them, like the end of the first level, for example. And the last level. Those levels are kind of lame, but this one has actual, like, climaxes to the levels and things, and also within the story, it has a thorough line of what's actually happening in the background, and, like, it makes sense when you know what's happening totally.
This must be Jorgen's base of operations.
So many screens. Can't stop watching TV.
The jester does not have the jewel. Someone else must have stolen it.
I'll bet that stolen jewel is to blame for you guys losing your powers. And for my TV going kablooey.
I will continue with my investigation. I will locate the thief, but I require a backup plan.
What do we do?
There's only one magical object more powerful than the royal jewel.
Yay! A fairyversary muffin. Never underestimate the power of muffins.
That is correct. There is the magic fairyversary muffin recipe. I will entrust it to you, but you must catch it first.
Wow! Look at that recipe go. I think he's had too much sugar.
Quick, Timmy.
First of all,
catch it.
why? Secondly,
This
he
is
doesn't
the
even
fabled
move,
fairy
really.
magic muffin recipe. Look, there's some stale dough on one corner.
Be careful with it, Timmy. It's probably billions of years old.
Billion-year-old dough. Ugh.
I meant the scroll, Cosmo. Let's take it to Jorgen.
You found the recipe, Jorgen?
I'm not impressed. Go, Tiny Timmy Turner. Take the recipe, collect the ingredients, and bake a magic muffin.
Only oven-baked treats can save TV.
Ooh, that looks delicious.
Pixie sugar, mooncalf milk, a phoenix egg, and super strong hair-raising flour? Where are we going to get ingredients like that?
There's only one place I can think of. Internet! I've ordered all the ingredients from the only store that had them. And there's only one of each in the store. We got look
Wow, that's a new experience.
and there. Now to wait. Yay! Thank goodness for the 1 second delivery guarantee.
Weird stop delivery for Timmy Turner?
I'm his babysitter. I'll take those. Oh no, Vicky! She's gonna eat my ingredients!
Quickly, Timmy, get down there.
What is this trash? Flour, sugar, an egg. Ooh, milk. I am kind of thirsty.
Did you say sugar? I need some sugar to power my newest invention!
And I just ran out of flour.
Here you are, Mr. and Mrs. Turner. It belongs to Timmy.
Oh, I'm sure he won't mind.
Well, we raised him to be generous.
I lost the sugar, the flour, and the milk, but the egg is still okay. I must be losing my touch.
Did you get them back? I bet you did.
All the ingredients are gone, Cosmo. What are we gonna do?
There are no more in the store, but don't give up, Timmy.
Yeah, we've got hours before Crash Nebula comes on. We've got plenty of time to go on bizarre adventures and find the ingredients.
We'd better go talk to Jorgen.
That did not go so very well.
How do you know?
I was watching on one of my many fairy control screens.
Oh, I don't suppose they show Crash Nebula.
No,
Thought not.
you can use them to locate your missing ingredients. Move to a screen with an image and activate it.
Yeah, that one went way worse visually, but it's like, when it came to the glitches, I mean, like, I'm gonna have to put an epilepsy warning or something on this video, because that was a mess when there were so many things moving on screen at once. But overall, you can see the direction in that cutscene was really good. Like, there was a lot of energy to it, what was going on. The gag with the extended stairs when he's trying to get downstairs before Vicky gives everything away, that sort of stuff. It's like, there's a lot of heart put into it, even if the emulator is having a bit of trouble with it right now. But here are the first two levels, and I'll see you next time.